Hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm very pleased to be interviewing Simon Mills today, who's a fabulous artist. He's part of the group of Kent artists contributing to the Come Eat With Me exhibition at Rochester Cathedral. And I'm very excited to talk to him. You know, I get excited very quickly when I'm talking to people who are creative. And so I'm very much looking forward really to finding out a little bit more about Simon, because we've not met, have we, Simon?
No, we haven't. No.
Very nice.
I hope we will. I hope we will at the cathedral. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be magnificent, and I like to use that word because the venue is magnificent.
Oh, of course.
And from what I see of all the artwork and the contributions that are coming into the exhibition, it's going to be fabulous, and much more integrated, and I don't know, so there's a lot of complexity to it, so it's really interesting. Fabulous. Okay, so Simon, tell me, how did you get involved with the exhibition?
Well, I was at Nucleus in Chatham one day visiting a friend, and I saw Jane First there, and she said, would I like to be part of a project that was going on in the cathedral. My first thought, because I'm not a Christian, was, well, it wouldn't be appropriate for me. But then as she started talking about it, I got more interested. I think the thing is, you know, I've spent, well, half a century of my life painting and being fascinated by Western art in general. And I've spent lots of time in art galleries. And you can't appreciate Western art without a knowledge of Christian symbolism and Greek mythology and pagan mythology. You know, all the stories in the paintings come from all those stories. So and then when she said it was the Leonardo Last Supper that the images were coming from, and then I got very excited because it's always been a favourite painting of mine. So kind of took it from there, really.
It's an iconic painting, isn't it? Every child painting. You don't have to be Christian to understand the parables and the stories and things within religions, whatever religion it is. But Western culture and our society is based on Christianity and values. So it is quite something, even if we're not knowledgeable, we have an underlying understanding of much of it. But yes, Renaissance painting. So I was intrigued as to how it would manifest. And so what do you think about the way it's come together so far, about how the artists have been drawn together, the quality of the art?
I think it's very interesting that by and large they're all very different takes on the subject. I mean, there are some that are very much like icons and others that are much looser. There's one that I saw which is very much a contemporary portrait of a contemporary person. And so I think that's very exciting. I think they'll look very interesting when they're on the table.
Yes, great. And also there is some sculpture, there's the pottery, the table itself is magnificent. Have you had a chance to see the table?
Yes. In fact, I had a conversation with a chap who owns the farm that it was dug up on. He was at Restoration House one day, and I got talking to him. It's extraordinary. And what I think is so wonderful is that at first sight, it looks as if it's been varnished. Because it's not, it's just polished. And, it's so black and dense, you can virtually see your face in it. I think it's a wonderful object.
Yeah. The incredible history. For those of you who haven't heard of the Fenwood oak, it's a 5,000-year-old tree amongst other trees that were naturally felled. It slipped into bog and was restored from that bog because the bog kept this particular tree, which is 44 feet long. It's enormous. If you go to the website, you'll see pictures of it. And it's just the ancientness of it. And as you say, that the blackness, the deepness of it, very, very unique and unusual. Yeah. So, so is your artistic journey then? You've been painting for a long time. How do you approach, or how do you approach your art normally, and how did you approach it for this particular round, or as a circle?
Yes. Well, it was a totally different thing, because what I do when I paint is I'm standing up in my studio. I've always considered painting to be a bit like a dance, and you move backwards and forwards towards the canvas, and I make quite big, bold brush marks. This obviously is much smaller than a lot of the things I do, and I actually painted on the tabletop, partly because I've got knee issues at the moment. So it was a very different way of actually working. I mean, yeah, I went to art school in the very, very, well, 1970. I started, and so I've been at it for a long, long time, and I was very fortunate that a lot of the influences I had in the early days were quite sort of physical painters like Frank Auerbach or Jackson Pollock or people like that. So I was very excited about the physicality of paint. And I still tend to throw it around quite a lot, which obviously I didn't so much with this, but I did enjoy the trying to keep it reasonably loose.
What I found interesting, because I think some of you watching now will know that I've contributed to this exhibition too, was that I'm used to doing commissions, portrait artist, doing commissions, wonderful, but it was quite a confined, defined expectation, but freedom within that. And I personally found it quite interesting to stay within the there's a uniformity of some aspects of the paintings, all of them, and that I found difficult, because I like to be completely free.
Yeah, but then sometimes to have some kind of a restriction is a good thing. I think if you've got complete and total freedom, it can be, it can sometimes be, what's the word I'm after?
Unreined?
Yeah, yes. I mean, I think,
I don't know.
When you think about artists in the past, they almost all had to paint within certain restraints, whether it was working for the church or the state, or for individual clients. And sometimes if you've got something to fight against, it can bring out more exciting things. And maybe if there's nothing, if you're in complete freedom, you might get a bit lost. So I think, having something to battle against might be quite good in a way.
Yeah, I found it quite a learning experience, and it did. I developed some fresh ideas as well from working within that.
Good, brilliant.
Who is your the personage that you have painted?
Which of the apostles? St. Philip. I chose him. In fact, he was in my mind when Jane first mentioned the idea. It's always been my favourite figure in it. He's the one who's standing and leaning forward with his head turned towards the figure of Christ, and he's lit on one side of his face. And I've always thought that, and the fact that his neck is sort of straining, is a really, really exciting figure. So I said to her, yeah, I'll do it as long as I can have Philip. I did want to have Philip. He's the one.
Yeah. Amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
So what's your next step then? Are you able to take what you've learned or developed from this particular exercise, this proposition, this fulfillment that you've achieved here? Is that going to change your work in any way, or are you going to go off at a tangent in any way to develop it at all?
I don't know, because mostly my work is landscape. You can see the one behind me. So I mean, I have painted figures. I've painted one entire year of my life. All I did was paint portraits, and that was quite quite interesting. It's quite surprising to be able to, you know, to actually earn a living from painting for a year. It's the only time I've done it. But then I did various strange things, like I did a portrait of Gary Lineker for a Walker's Christmas advert. I did a portrait of what's his name? Name I always forget, as Lord Longford. Doesn't matter. So you know, I've done quite a lot of portrait painting, but I don't do so much of that now. So I'll be going back to, well, I've got a commission for a landscape, which I should be starting on pretty soon. So I'm not sure this will have any impact as such, but you never know. I mean, it's always good to work from you know, another painter's work, because I think you always learn something. I was talking to our grandson a little while back, who was very annoyed that he had to do portraits at school, and I completely understand, and I would have been exactly the same at his age. Why have I got to copy this thing? Well, it makes no sense. It's got no meaning for me at all. But everything you do when you copy something, you learn something. I did a set for a musical about Picasso years ago. It was dreadful, completely awful show, but that doesn't matter, because the sets were just big copies of Picasso paintings, and it was huge fun.
Yeah.
But also, I learned a lot about the way Picasso painted. He's not a huge hero of mine at all. I greatly prefer Matisse, in fact. But still, it was a learning process, and everything that you copy, you learn something from, I think.
True. So this is it then. It's nearly upon us. If you're watching this video, you may have, we're approaching the exhibition, and you may be watching this after the exhibition has gone on. So please do go to the website and have a look and see what you missed out on. We're excited. I can tell that you can tell as well that the quality of the work and the approach of the artist is very serious. We've had an interview with Reverend Gordon, and sort of looking at it from the church's perspective and bringing art into the cathedral at Rochester. And so it's there's so much for people at this exhibition, isn't there? Are you aware there's music as well? There's some century music.
That's brilliant. Yes, such a good idea.
Yeah. And so I'm really,
I mean, music in cathedrals, you know, it's always been a wonderful thing. The acoustics suit that sort of music, not other music, I don't think. But,
And there is a religious concept behind the Last Supper, or underpinning it. And you said you aren't a Christian, and I'm just wondering if that's helped you understand Christianity any better, or what's your approach to Christianity during the exhibition?
I'm interested in the art. To me, all art that's been produced, you know, in the name of religion, is basically a celebration of the human spirit, and you know, that to me is the most important thing, and I love it. So I think that's what we're all doing, is we're celebrating, you know, the indescribable.
And like you say, the human spirit, and I think, as you know, as an artist, you're expressing that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you've done, and I hope everybody comes along to the exhibition. If you haven't seen it, go to the website. So thank you then, Simon. Is there anything I can recommend for you now? Are you looking to promote any aspect of your work at the moment? Do you have any events coming up?
Got a show in the Fish Slab Gallery in Whitstable next April. Should be a joint show with Brona, my wife, and my oldest college friend, Philip Richardson. So looking forward to that. I've just had a book printed. Which is it's probably too long to explain what it's all about, but these are they're paintings of photographs of art in galleries. The photographs were taken by my friend Gareth, in the 80s and 90s. And there's a joke in Dinos Chapman. Basically, the idea was that so many art shows that you see nowadays, at the end of the show, the work has disappeared. I mean, for instance, the latest Turner Prize winner, her work, you know, shopping trolleys and traffic cones and things, will be gone at the end of the show. The only record of it will be photographs. And Gareth and I said, you know, if these photographs are all that's left of the work, are the photographs works of art? Because that's all there is. If they are, what if a painter painted a painting of that photograph? Would that be a work of art? And if it is, then who's the artist? And we were just asking the question. We didn't want answers. We weren't suggesting there were answers. But the idea was semi-humorous, but also just questioning you know, the authorship of art. So this show, the paintings are 5 foot by 4 foot from 5 inch by 4 inch transparencies. We've had them on the wall a couple of times. I now want to get them somewhere rather more prestigious. So the book is to take round to galleries and with the intention of getting a show in the West End or Shoreditch, and then eventually I intend to get it to New York or Paris or something.
Wonderful.
So that's the next project.
Great. That's a really good concept as well. I do like some philosophical debate.
Well, yes, we thought, you know, it's a conceptual work of art, but actually made up of real paintings, which is kind of unusual. Which
becomes something else and new.
Yeah.
So the question arises. Yes, well, that's something to look forward. It's a lot of work and interesting. So that's fascinating. Yeah. Know if you're doing anything like that, you know, when and how, and we can do some preliminary work and promote it. So that's great.
Great. Thank you.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, and particularly looking for Philip, and I recommend that to everybody else that's watching. Hope you've enjoyed listening and meeting Simon. I think it's intriguing now. So looking at the picture in the background, I'm sure you all want to rush out and find out more about him. So some of your details will be below in the comments, etc. And yeah, thank you very much, Simon.
Well, thank you, Victoria. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Good. Nice to meet you. Okay, bye-bye, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.